So in this video we are discussing about the new chapter we are having, that is the diversity among animals. Okay, so what does it mean? Which means that we will discuss all the phyla. What is phyla? That I'll be telling you. We will see the diversity of the animals, that how animals are basically distinguished, and what are the different animals are there in the world. Okay, and what are they are placed in, when many groups, like which groups they are placed. Okay, so first of all, the term animal, if we talk about, that is derived from the Latin word that is the anima. What is anima? Anima means that breathe or soul, sorry. Okay, so the animals can breathe and they are having soul. We are calling that as an animal. Okay, animal is basically this is very different in structure. Okay, and if we talk about, they are basically having a range from the microscopic to the higher living organism. Okay, if we talk about the microscopic animal we are having, that is the, you can take the example of the worm. Okay, and here you can take the example of blue whale. This is the difference. Okay, so there is, which means I want to tell you guys is there is a range from the simplest to the higher living organism. Okay, so if we talk about the blue whale, so this, their weight is up to 150 tons, and this is 40-meter long. This is the general knowledge question. Okay, so if we talk about the animal, so that is basically very hard to distinguish. Okay, so there are many characteristics of animal from which you can understand that what the animal is. In animals you can take our example, human beings. Okay, so the human beings and in mammals and the reptiles we are having. Okay, animals, so animals are basically multicellular. What is multicellular means they consist of more than one cell. Okay, and they are heterotrophic, which means that they cannot make their food. Okay, they basically not make their food by own, like we are, the plants are creating the fruits and food. Okay, vegetables and these all, we cannot create our own food, so that's why we are calling that as the animal as a heterotrophic. Okay, heterotrophic but ingestive, which means we ingest through our mouth. Okay, and we are eukaryotics. Our cell is basically eukaryotes. Eukaryote means we are having the true nucleus, we are calling that is a eukaryote. Okay, and we can reproduce sexually. What does it mean? It means that two gametes join together and the fertilization occur, so the animals can reproduce sexually. Okay, so many species are there which is different, their diversity is very different. Okay, and if we talk about the animals, so they are in their cell wall is basically not present. Okay, there's lack of the cell wall, and they're motile. What is motile? Motile means they can move. Okay, motile means the moving. We can move, we can go here, where, there, so that means the motile. Okay, and they can also generate the stimuli. Okay, as you guys all know, so these were the characteristics of the animal. Now we are discussing the criteria of animal classification, like how the animals are basically classified. Okay, so if you talk about the kingdom Animalia. Okay, the Animalia kingdom is basically divided into the 33 groups. 33 groups, and these groups we are calling as the phyla. Okay, but if we talk about in the depth, so the major we are having the 9. Major we are having 9, and rest are minor. If we talk about the major phyla, so we are having the Porifera, Cnidaria, Platyhelminthes, Annelida, Mollusca, Arthropoda, Echinodermis, and Chordata, which in Chordata we are in the Chordata group. Okay, so this is a grouping system where the animals are basically classified. So that's which means the animal is basically classified. Okay, so that the rest are the minor phyla. Okay, so the grouping of the animals, okay, that we are calling grouping as a taxonomy, which means the arrangement of the species. So that we are calling as a taxonomy, and we are going to put the, you can say that, like, we have put we are having many groups, like different groups is having different animals. So that we'll be discussing one by one in very detail with the structure too. Okay, so this is just the introduction of the new chapter. So I want to tell you guys that we have classified on the basis of two or three things, which means that we have classified the animals on the basis of the tissues layers, okay, their absence or the presence of tissues, their symmetry, their geometry, okay, their development pattern, okay, their coelom. The coelom is what? Coelom is the cavity, okay, on the basis of the coelom, and on the basis of blastopore. Blastopore is basically the first opening in the development stage in the embryo, you can say. This is the first opening in the embryo. If the first opening is the anus, so that we are calling as a deuterostome. And if the first opening is basically the mouth, like we animals are, so we are protostome. So that we'll be discussing in the next videos too. So we are basically classifying on these things. Okay, we are classified, we are having many animals. Okay, the evolution is very big. Okay, so that we are classified just because of the few things, the presence and absence and these all. So this was about the introduction of the diversity among animals. We have started a new chapter, and this was the classification of the animal and the criteria of the animal classification. So in the next video we will move further.